Right, so with the controller, we have created the controller part. We've got this button and we've got this slot. And we've also added the two colours, the red and the black. So if you look at the working drawing, or if you open, this is the one we were working on that gave all the sizes for creating most of it. But you can see that we've still not created this little plus control pad section on the controller. So there is another working drawing called controller2.pdf, and this one here has got all the sizes required for adding this plus controller. So it's like up, down, left, right controller onto the control pad. So this tells us here the sizes. So it tells us that it's spaced in from this outside edge 10, and it's spaced down from this top edge 5, right? 5, 10. But we're not going to worry about them first. All we're going to worry about is creating this plus shape. So if I go to Inventor, we're going to start a 2D sketch, and we're going to choose this front face of the controller. So that's going to get it so we're looking straight on. I'm going to press the middle mouse wheel twice so it zooms in. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the line tool. I'm going to move over here into this area, and I'm going to click once, left click once. So now that is allowing me to draw a line where I want it. Now if we look at the working drawings, all these lines are at right angles. They're all straight right angles, 90-degree angled lines, right angles to each other. So in Inventor, we need to make sure that when we start this, you can see down on the right it says 0.00 degrees, which means it's a straight line. We don't want it to be at an angle, right? We don't want it to be at an angle. Now when you get it straight, it should click into place. It should like lock into place like that when it's at 0.00 degrees. Now I've taken my hand off of the mouse so that there's no chance I could knock it, and that means that I could then type 5 as the dimension and then press enter, and that's going to draw me a line which is 5 millimeters long and it's straight. Now I'm going to then move my mouse downwards this way until again it's locked into place at 90 degrees this time. Once I'm happy it's locked at that 90 degrees, I'm going to take my hand off the mouse, and on the keyboard I'm going to type 7.5 and then press enter. Then I'm going to put my hand back on the mouse, and I'm going to move the line tool over to the right hand side. Once again, it's going to lock into place when it's straight, and that'll show me, as you can see above, 90 deg, which means 90 degrees. When I'm happy it's sitting at 90 degrees, I'm not clicking, I'm just taking my hand off the mouse, and using the keyboard I'm typing 7.5 and then pressing enter once. I could then put my hand back on the mouse, move down the way, so down here, and you can see I'm just going to move it around until I get it to 90 degrees, and it's like it clicks into place. It's like it locks it, right? I'm not clicking the mouse, I'm just moving it until it's locked at 90 degrees. I'm going to take my hand off the mouse, and I'm going to type 5 on the keyboard and press enter, and that's going to make that line 5 millimeters. I'm then going to move over here, hand back on the mouse, and move over here to the left. And again, we don't want it to be at an angle, so we want this angle to be 90 degrees, a right angle, 90 degrees. Once it's snapped into place, I'm going to take my hand off the mouse, and I'm going to type on the keyboard 7.5 and then hit enter once. I'm then going to put my hand back on the mouse, and I'm going to move it downwards, so down here to the bottom somewhere, and I'm just going to move it around until I'm happy that it's at 90 degrees again and it's locked into place. So I've not clicked, I've just moved the mouse until I'm happy that it's locked at 90. Once it's saying 90 degrees, take your hand off the mouse, back to the keyboard, type in 7.5 7.5 and then press enter once. I'm going to put my hand on the mouse. I'm going to move over to the left. Again, I'm wanting this to lock into place at 90. When it says 90 and it locks into place, I'm going to take my hand off the mouse. I'm going to type in 5 on the keyboard and press enter once. Then I'm going to move my hand back to the mouse, move this line upwards until I'm happy that it locks into place at 90 degrees. Once I'm happy it's locked in place, I'm going to take my hand off the mouse, back to the keyboard and type in again 7.5, enter once, back to the mouse. So now we're going to move back over to the left. So I'm moving the mouse over to the left over here, and then once again when I'm happy I'm going to move slowly until I see it click into place at 90 degrees, take my hand off the mouse and type in 7.5 on the keyboard and press enter. Nearly there. Back to the mouse. I'm going to move the mouse pointer up here towards the top, and I'm just going to hover it about until I'm happy that it's clicked at 90 degrees. So we don't want to be over or under, so there 8 to 8.9, no, there's 90, oh I've went over to 92, so I'm needing to go back a wee bit. 90, it's clicked into place. I'm going to take my hand off the mouse, I'm going to type 5 and then I'm going to press enter, 5mm. Then I'm going to move over here. Now there is a trick to this as well, so I'll show you that. So if I was to move the mouse over to here, you'll see that because there's already lines through here at 7.5, because we're just completing this plus shape, when it locks at 90, if I keep moving along, it also could lock at 7.5, which is what we're going to do it at. So I could then click. Yeah? I'm going to use the line tool again just to then connect up the last 2 points. So you'll see that when I'm over the end of the line, it turns green. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to move over to this top line, and you can see that it's only connected when I get that green dot, not the yellow one that you can see here. It has to be the green dot that you see there. Click, and that's them connected. There we go. So once we're happy we've got our plus shape, we now need to position it from the edge and the top edge the right dimensions. So from the working drawing, it's spaced from this top edge downwards 5mm, and it's spaced from this left edge inwards 10mm. So on Inventor, dimension tool, I'm going to choose the left edge and then move it over here until this turns red and click on that. That way I could then move upwards to here in this white space and click. And I'm going to change that to 10. Enter. So that moves the whole plus shape that we've created from this edge to here 10mm. I'm going to click on dimension again. I'm going to click on this top line when it goes red, and then I'm going to go up to the top edge, click on that when it goes red, and then I'm just going to move over here into the top left hand corner, click again, and then we want to make that 5mm, and then we're going to click the little green tick when I'm happy. So that's now positioned at 10 from the edge to here and 5 from the top edge to here. So it's in the correct place from the working drawing. 10 in from the left edge, 5 in from the top edge. And then all the other sizes are correct from what we did before. So when I'm happy that's right, we're going up here to finish sketch. So I've created this plus profile on this face of the controller. The next thing we want to do is, if you remember from the controller 1 PDF, the circle button had a thickness of 2mm. It's the same with the plus sign that we've just created. That also has a depth or a distance that it sticks out of 2mm. So back to Inventor. We're going to use the extrude tool, and here where it says distance A, I'm going to amend that to 2mm, and that means it's going to take this whole plus sign that we've created and make it stick out or extrude it out from this face 2mm, and then I can go here to OK when I'm happy. So there we go, it's created our plus sticking out from the surface. So the next thing we need to do is I'm going to use the mouse wheel, and if I pull it towards me, that allows me to zoom in. I can then hold the mouse wheel down to pull this around the screen. So I want this to be in the middle. And if you remember at the end of the last video, we coloured the circular button black. So we want to do that to the plus sign. So to do that, like before, I'm going to click on that face till it goes blue. If I hold down Shift, I can then click on these faces that I can see that are all part of the plus. I'm going to go around them one at a time. And you can see that if I move my mouse over here to the white space, everything I've selected is blue. So I could then go up here to where it says smooth or default if you've not chose a colour yet, drop down the menu, and if you remember, this is our materials menu. So this is where we can add materials to the surfaces of the object we've made. So we're going to scroll to the S, it's in alphabetical order, and we're looking for smooth black. Okay. If I press the mouse wheel twice, that's going to zoom out. Now if I go over here to the orbit tool, click, if I just rotate this around, you'll see that some of the surfaces are still red, right? So if I move it up to this angle, so I'm looking onto the filleted edge that we created, press escape to get rid of the orbit tool, and then going to pull the mouse wheel towards me to zoom in. I'm going to hold down the mouse wheel to then move this object around so I could see it better, and then when I'm happy it's in place, escape off of the orbit tool. So that now I could click on the surfaces that are still red. So I'm going to click on this one here because it's still red. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to click on this one, this one, this one, this one, and finally this one, because they're all still red. So if I move the mouse up here to the white area, you can see the areas, the surfaces I have selected, or the faces I have selected, are all blue. So that means I've selected them. And I'm going to go back up to Materials menu, drop it down. I'm going to scroll to the smooth black. Where is it? And select that. So now if I press the middle mouse wheel twice, it's going to zoom out. I'm going to use the orbit tool just to make sure that all that plus direction pad that we created, so it's like up, down, left, right, and then a big D pad, are all black, and the actual controller is red. So that's pretty much that piece completed. So I'm going to press escape to exit the orbit tool, and I'm going to go File, Save. And that means I can now save that piece as controller. So we're saving this piece as controller into our Nintendo Switch folder.